never thought I'd be the kind of teacher who would let a student completely embarrass another one in my class, but what happened that day honestly changed the way I saw everything, and the truth is, I didn't stop it. From the very first week of school, I already knew Madison was going to be trouble because she walked into my classroom like she owned the place, carrying a designer bag, holding an iced coffee in her hand, and with her AirPods already in before the bell had even rung, and her attitude, yeah, that came along with her naturally. Within just a few days, she had already started picking her targets, and you know exactly the type I'm talking about. The quiet kids, the ones who mind their own business, the ones who never fight back no matter what is said to them. Madison lived for attention, and if the classroom got quiet for even a second, she would immediately find a way to make everything about herself by interrupting lessons, laughing loudly at her own jokes, and whispering just loud enough so everyone around her could hear. And every time I told her to stop, she would just roll her eyes and respond with something like, "Relax, it's not that serious," before going right back to doing the same thing again. But the worst part wasn't just that she was disruptive, it was that she was genuinely mean, constantly picking on other students, making fun of one girl for her clothes, another for her voice, and eventually, she moved on to Ethan. Ethan barely spoke at all. He was a straight A student who always sat in the same seat in the second row from the back, wearing glasses, a hoodie, and keeping his head down. The kind of student every teacher wishes they had a whole classroom full of. So of course, Madison chose him. At first, it started with small comments like, "Why do you dress like that?" or "Do you even have friends?" and even "Bro thinks he's smart" or something. And every single time she said something, Ethan stayed completely silent and never responded even once. I tried stepping in multiple times by giving her warnings and even sending her out of the classroom a few times, but every single time I did that, I would receive an email from her mom later that same day accusing me of targeting her. So one day, when we had a group project coming up, I made a decision that I thought might actually help the situation, and I paired Madison with Ethan. Even though looking back now, I realized it was a risky move. At first, everything seemed completely normal, but then things quickly started to go downhill as Madison leaned back in her chair without even touching the assignment, scrolling on her phone, laughing, and showing videos to the two boys sitting in their group. Meanwhile, Ethan was doing absolutely everything, including the research, the writing, and organizing the entire project by himself without saying a word. So I walked over to them and told Madison that she needed to contribute, but without even looking up from her phone, she casually said that she tried, and that Ethan was being controlling and wouldn't let her do anything, which made the boys sitting there start to snicker. Ethan looked up at me in that moment, and I could immediately tell that what she said wasn't true, so I responded by telling her that if that was the case, then she could finish the rest of the project herself, which made the boys laugh even more. Madison smirked because she loved the attention she was getting, but this time something felt different because Ethan didn't look annoyed. He looked hurt, like everything had finally gotten to him, and in that moment, I realized that I should have stopped this a long time ago. So I stepped forward and said loud enough for the entire class to hear that she needed to stop because he was the only one doing the work while she was sitting there making fun of him for it. The entire room went completely silent as Madison slowly sat up, took her AirPod out, and looked directly at Ethan, and you could tell she was about to say something mean, something that probably would have pushed him even further. But before she could say anything, Ethan finally spoke for the first time all year. The entire class froze as he looked straight at her and said that maybe if she spent less time pretending to be famous and more time actually doing something, she wouldn't need other people to carry her. There was complete silence for a second, and then the entire class burst out laughing. I'm talking about full-on laughter, even from the students who never react to anything at all. Madison's face turned completely red as she looked around the room, expecting someone to support her, but no one did. Not this time. She grabbed her bag, stormed out of the classroom, and didn't come back for the rest of the day. And me, I just stood there, because for the first time, someone finally said what needed to be said, and I didn't stop it.